Hi guys, and welcome back. Thank you so much for all of your amazing comments. Noxie, she said, lol, lol. Kathy in Indiana, I can't roll my tongue. That means I'm recessive. Ha ha ha. We were laughing, Noxie. We thought it was very, very good. Michelle, no, Indy, I tried twisting my tongue. I can't. Don't worry, guys. Keep practicing. Practice makes perfect, hey? Surely, hey?
As long as she can't touch her tip of her nose with her tongue, we're okay. Okay,
it's fine.
Can't.
No.
So we're okay, Indy. You're normal. You're normal.
Yeah, I'm pretty normal.
Little strange, and we love you for that. Okay, that's variation, by the way, people. It's genetics that makes us so variable. All right, and it adds to the variation in our genetic makeup, which is your karyotype. Okay, so it's there written in your genes. All right, so what have we got here? We've got dominant brown eyes versus blue, curly hair versus straight, black hair versus white or blonde, normal skin pigment versus albinism. Okay. Tongue rolling versus a flat tongue, which we've just gone through now. Looped earlobes versus straight. Now, I want you to feel your ears, or if you've got something that reflects or a mirror, have a look. And you'll see some people have a looped earlobe. So it does, if this is the face, the earlobe comes, the earlobe will do this. It's got like an indentation there, and I've just moved this. Oh, you know, come. If this is the face, you've got the ear does. Oh no, man. The ear does that. Whereas a straight one, if this is the face, or let's go the face that way, the ear comes and it's straight like that. Right, so whether it goes in or whether it's straight, normal blood clotting versus hemophilia, but hemophilia is recessive, but it's carried on the X chromosomes. So in other words, it is sex-linked. And then you've got your blood groups. And if you look at the blood groups, people, you've got A, you've got B, are dominant, and you've got O is recessive. Right, so this means it is polygenic as well. You have multiple alleles, more than 2 alleles for a characteristic, because how many are there? There's 1, 2, 3 for blood groups. And this is where we're going to explain codominance. We'll get there. All right, here we've got incomplete dominance. And this was the best way I could explain it, is if I have P1, which is the first parental process, we have homozygous dominant, okay? We have homozygous recessive. They are homozygous, they are pure, dominant and recessive, and our first filial generation, our first little set of babies, what are we going to have? We are going to have all of them pink. So if I take red and white and I mix it like paint, I have my hybrids, which are the babies, and the hybrids are a mix of the dominant and the recessive, because the dominant doesn't dominate completely over the recessive gene. So you have a mixture. So let's take this. If I have black and white, I'll end up with, come, think, gray. Perfect. You follow? If I have curly hair, which is dominant, and straight hair, which is recessive, and I mix the two, what am I going to have with incomplete dominance? I'm going to have wavy hair. It's not curly, it's not straight, it's in between. You know, it's like Little Red Riding Hood. This porridge is too, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This porridge, Daddy's porridge is too hot, Mommy's porridge is too cold, Baby Bear's porridge is just right. So red, white gives you pink. Black, white gives you gray. That is if it is incomplete. In other words, the dominant gene does not dominate completely over the recessive gene. And they sort of strike a bargain and a compromise. It is a mixture of the two. And get that in your head. It is incomplete. It can't dominate completely. Okay? Now, codominance. And people, the learners mess this up year after year after year, and it's so easy. Complete dominance, doesn't matter what that recessive gene is. Unless there are two recessive genes, there is no way that trait shows in the phenotype. Okay, in the physical, in the phenotype. That's dominant. Complete dominance. Incomplete dominance, it says, you know what? I'm red, you white, let's have a little mixture there. Let's throw a party and be happy, and everybody just compromises. It's a mixture. Codominance is no. You're dominant, I'm dominant. Let's agree that we each have our little patch. And that's what it does. So it says it's co, means both. Both dominate. Not just one with complete dominance, not incomplete dominance where they say, well, we just wusses. We're just going to strike a compromise, which I suppose is the nice way to do it. It says, we are both equally important. We are co-dominant. And the reason I used color was because I want to show you a flower. Generally, the examples that you'll get in an exam or in a test will be on blood. But just in case they throw a curveball at you, this is to cover that. Okay? Your P1, first parental process, we have homozygous dominant here. Okay? Capital R, capital R. But here we have white, and the white says, okay, look, I know I'm recessive, but guess what? I'm not actually that recessive. So we have homozygous, but this white also dominates. And I didn't want to use the letters W. So it's also dominant. We have codominance. So what do we end up with here? In the F1, we end up with something that is red and white. Red and white, red and white, red and white. So the red has its place, the white has its place. And you check this out. And this is what we have in nature. Look at this little flower. And if you go to, it's gladewaterbiology.blogspot.com. If you go and have a look at that site, this is a perfect example of codominance. I've got the pink, I've got the white. Okay, it's like taking codominance would be if I have a Friesland cow would be codominance. I have a black cow, a white cow, they mate, and guess what? The babies are black with white spots or white with black spots. Okay, a Dalmatian is a perfect example of codominance. It would be if you crossed a black dog with a white dog, they codominate. We have a Dalmatian, which is, and you all know 101 Dalmatians, so you know what I'm talking about. It's a dog with black spots. Okay, that would be codominance. Now, the example that you need to know for exam purposes is codominance in blood. Now remember, erythrocytes are your red blood cells. Okay, your it wasn't spelled right. Thyrocytes. So your erythrocytes, your red blood cells. Now have a look at this. We have a red blood cell which is antigen A. We have a red blood cell that has antigen B. We have red blood cells that have both antigen A and B. So we call it blood type AB. And then we have a red blood cell that has no antigens. And if it has no antigens, we say that it is O. All right, so O is the recessive one. The only way that trait can come through, come on, if it's recessive, the only way you are going to see that trait in the phenotype is if there are two homozygous recessive traits together, then you will see it in the phenotype. So for someone to have blood that is OO, or what we call O, they must have the two Okay, they must have both. Both alleles must be recessive. A and B say, we are both equally strong. And if I have antigen A, all right, it's blood type A. Antigen B, blood type B. But oh, woe is me. If I have a mother and a father, and the mother is A and the father is B, and those gametes get together, it says, we are working here together. And you end up with AB. Now, look how nice this is. And I put this together for you as well. We've got blood type, what we call, and what the hospital, if you take a blood test and they say, oh, you're blood type A, you B's, A, B, O. This is what it means. Blood type A is written like this. You put a little line with a little dot, and you can't see the yellows, so let's do this. That little thing there is a little line with a little dot, and you put an A. And a little line, and so what it's telling you is that's the chromosome. And on that chromosome pair, you are going to have either A or nothing. In other words, there's no antigen here. And if it has no antigen, okay, that's what you end up with, and that's what you end up with. So they can receive blood. If you A group, you can receive blood from other A's, or you can receive blood from O. That's why we say that anyone with blood type O is a universal donor, okay? Because they can give, a universal donor, because they can give blood to anyone, because O is compatible there, O is compatible here, it's there and here. Now, if it's blood type B, all right, here we've got BB, or we've got BO. All right? So they can receive blood from other Bs, or they can receive blood from Os. Then AB. This is where a perfect example of codominance. So to get blood type AB, mom or dad had to be A, and the other one had to be B. And you put the A and the B together, it says, codominance. And that's what we have. So AB, there we go. Now look at this. AB can receive blood from A's. They can receive blood from B's. They can receive blood from ABs and O. So they are what we call the universal receiver. Okay, they can receive blood from anyone. So if you are AB, you're very lucky. It's when you are B, you have a problem, or if you are just A, you have a problem. And O, well, O has no antigens at all. You have the two recessive genes together for the trait to come through. Okay, it's as easy as that. So remember, when we look at complete dominance, that dominant homozygous dominant characteristic dominates absolutely and completely over the recessive. And the only time you will see the recessive trait in the phenotype, the physical, the phenotype, is if there are two homozygous recessive genes, okay, in the offspring. But if they're heterozygous or homozygous, they will have the dominant trait. That's Mendel's law of dominance and segregation. Okay, we're going to do his second law now. But let's do incomplete dominance. That's when it sort of says, you know what, guys, I don't want to dominate, you don't want to dominate, let's just work together here. So we have red, white, pink, black, white, gray. You follow? It is a mixture. Curly hair, straight hair, wavy hair. It's a lovely way of compromising. It's a mix. And then we have codominance. And the one says, I'm in charge. And the one says, no, I'm in charge. And say, well, okay, fine, both of you are in charge. And you'll end up with black and white spots. You follow? Or red flower, white flower, and you end up with a flower that has red and white markings on it. So that would be codominance. the example you will get in an exam is blood. Make sure you know antigen A, antigen B dominate. AB, that's a combination of the two, they co-dominate. And O, the two O's, recessive, and then you will see it in the phenotype. All right, Mendel's law of independent assortment. Now think about this. Independent means that if you are independent, you don't need other people. All right, you can independently do whatever you need to do. And as you get older, you will get more and more and more independent. And you'll probably find your biggest independence is when you have your own transport and you can move around as you want. And you can live in your own room or your own house or your own flat and leave it looking the way you want it to. You are independent. So you all know what independent means. Then, assortment. When I sort something out, that is, I have an assortment. So if I invite you to tea and I have cupcakes with red icing and cupcakes with white icing and donuts and a chocolate cake, I have an assortment of stuff. And it's up to you what you want to eat. And you're thinking, Kathy, have you lost your marbles? Talk to us about genetics. I am. Because that's independent assortment. Because what Mendel did, and what he worked with these little sweet pea plants, man, and he had ones that had smooth coats for the seeds, and wrinkled coats for the seeds, and yellow coats, and green coats. And when he mixed them all up, it didn't matter whether they were wrinkled and green or wrinkled and yellow, or smooth and green or smooth and yellow. The characteristics, the traits, were independent. And that is why us as human beings, for example, we can have dark hair and blue eyes. And I'm not talking about having colored our hair, I'm talking about natural color. So if we look at Indy, look at Indy. Indy has
green eyes.
Very light green eyes.
I thought you were just saying light skin, that too.
Okay, hold on. Remember, skin color is polygenic. There are a number of genes that script for skin color. Because if you think of all the variations of skin color we have, it's poly, means many, genic. Lots of genes make that characteristic. The same with height. That's why you can have a mom who's 5 foot tall, a dad who's 6 foot tall, and they have kids that are everything in between. You follow? So height, polygenic. By the way, and listen to this, Indy, epilepsy, schizophrenia, okay, being a little dilly, having a couple of personalities. I mean, imagine how interesting that must be.
Can you imagine 5 Kathys?
Yeah, there we go.
That would be hectic.
No, but they won't be Kathy. They'll be Kathy, Sam, John,
Felicia,
Angela, Felicia. Yeah, they'll all be together.
Okay, Felicia.
Okay, but so epilepsy, schizophrenia, a cleft lip. You know when babies are born with a cleft lip? And there's no seal in the palate, cancers, diabetics, all of those are polygenic. In other words, there are plenty of genes that actually make that whole outcome possible. All right, so skin color, height, eye color, all polygenic. Now, if we look at Mendel's thing, he turned around and he said that each trait, each characteristic, so your genes that carry or write or script for that trait, those alleles, okay, they are independent. So if you look at Indy, as my example was, she's got very light eyes, she has a light skin, all right, but she's got dark hair. So hold on, you think, no, hold on. If a person's got dark hair, you should have a dark skin and dark eyes. Yeah, if you're Italian or Hawaiian, I suppose. But no, not everybody needs that. Okay? And if you are blonde, it's not necessary that you're going to have blue eyes and a fair skin. You could be blonde, like those Baywatch babes, with all kinds of other things, as well as a darkly, nicely tanned skin. That is a natural dark skin, but blue eyes. So those traits are all independent of each other. Okay? So having dark hair, light skin, blue eyes, They are all independent, and that's what his law says. So if I invite you to tea, you can decide, I want all 4 cupcakes, I want the chocolate cake, I want the milk tart, I want the apple pie, and I want the donut. So clearly you don't have a problem with your weight. Okay, maybe you're hungry, but you can have them all, or you can have none, or you can have some. But they are all independent. You decide independently which one you want. Okay? Independent assortment is Mendel's second law. And you must, all you need to know is this really. So, each characteristic is controlled by allele genes. Remember, allele genes? One from dad, one from mom, sitting on those chromosomes. Those are your alleles. Okay? Now, he stated that the different pairs of chromosomes segregate independently. Remember meiosis? What did we have? First of all, during prophase, we had crossing over, where a piece from the mother's chromosome, or the maternal chromosome, broke off and joined the paternal chromosome. Okay? And what else did we have? Think about it. At metaphase 1, meiosis 1, those chromosomes pulled independently to make the gametes. There was no, well, if it's the mom's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and all the mom's chromosomes go up and all the dad's or the paternal chromosomes go down to make a gamete, didn't. So you'd have chromosome 1, 3, 8, and 9 maternal chromosomes, and the chromosomes in between the paternal chromosomes, and they all mushed up, they mixed up. That's your independent assortment. Okay, so it's like a whole bunch of licorice, all sorts. So they segregate independently, and I'm going to write here, prophase 1 and metaphase 1. Just remember that. Independent assortment, random selection. So that each hybrid is going to have, each characteristic is going to be different. So that we can have dark hair with blue eyes and a light skin. We could have blonde hair with blue eyes and a dark skin. We could have blonde hair with brown eyes and a dark skin. Because each of those traits is separate. Just remember height, eye color, all right? Skin color are polygenic. Lots of genes work together to make that characteristics. Otherwise, all people with white skin would have the same color. All people with blue eyes or brown eyes would have the same. Think about how many different color shades of brown there are, or blue, or green, or whatever. Eye color, eye color especially, height, skin color, epilepsy, schizophrenia, cancer, diabetes, they're all polygenic. And you know what? We actually have run out of time, so I'm going to ask Indy to put this diagram of Mendel's second law. Don't worry too much about it, it's just to give you an idea of what the law means. But it is independent assortment. Each gene combination is different, and that's what gives us genetic variation as human beings. All right, so it's genetic variation. And if you look at human beings, unless you're an identical twin, there is no other human being that is exactly the same as you. All right, that is your genetic variation. And it's based on that they say evolution has created us and different species and hybrid species, because we are combinations of the whole process. All right, next week, before we start the whole genetic story, okay, and GM foods and blah, 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 I'm going to go through your different types of mutations. All right.
Okay, guys.
Indy.
I will post that picture of Mendel's second law on the page. We don't have any time for questions now, unfortunately, guys, but what our producers have said in the next show, we will be taking questions in the beginning. Okay, guys, grade 12s, thank you so much, and we'll be seeing you next week, same time, same place. Bye.
Cheers, guys.